Very special episode. Normally we go live at 3 p.m. on Wednesday for our new episodes, our new interviews, and there's a really great reason why we are going live this late. It's a very special episode with a really special guest, and I can't wait to introduce you to him. But first, we got to do our little monologue. And as always, my name is Priscilla Moy, and I am your host of the Hot Seat. See, girl, it is late out here, and I am stumbling. Woo! But anyways, I am Priscilla Moy. I am your host of The Hot Seat, your favorite show here at Social Media Shows. We go live in real time. We are the only network here in the city of Las Vegas that does that. And there are many shows on the network that bring you different things of what Las Vegas has to offer. My show in particular, we have amazing guests from all fields: entertainment, live entertainment, politics, local businesses, music, performing arts, dance, acrobats, sports, all of those things. And those people come here and sit in this seat and tell you the story about them and their journey and why they do what they do. So every week I love meeting new people that come and sit here, and it's always inspirational to hear their story and what journey that they've led and why it is that they want to build their legacy in the field that they do. So when we come back from break, we are going to introduce you to the very special guest, obviously the one that made us come here at 7 p.m. and have an amazing special interview just for you guys at home. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere, get your little cup of evening tea, and join us for this amazing interview. So I will see you after the break. Hi guys, and welcome back to The Hot Seat. I am your host Priscilla Moy, and we are live in real time here at the Social Media Shows studio in Las Vegas.
Ready to buy a home? Whether you want to move out of your parents' home for the first time, own a home after renting for years, or buy a place with a spouse or partner, purchasing your first home is a big step. Finding the right home for you and your family has never been easier. New American Funding can help you determine how much house you qualify for, what your payments may be, and get you pre-approved, which will help you put in a stronger offer when you do find your new home. Before you start the home buying process, it's important to consider everything that you want in a home and what that means to you. There are several things you should consider when buying a home. The neighborhood. Location, location, location. School district. Review what school district the house is in. Even if you don't have kids, having a home in a desirable school district will pay off when it comes time to sell your home in the future. Commute times. Check the routes to work, school, grocery stores, and more to see how busy they are and how much time these routes will take. Crime rate. Before you get too involved in the home buying process, check out the crime rates for the neighborhoods you are interested in. Our complete property profile report can give you property ownership, historical tax and mortgage data, neighborhood and school data, local market conditions, and more. Find the right home for you and your family with your complimentary property profile from New American Funding. To get pre-approved or to get your complimentary property profile, contact us today.
Now on digital and DVD.
Hit it.
Space Wars: Quest for the Deep Star is an epic sci-fi adventure.
Do what needs to be done.
An edge-of-your-seat wild ride.
We have company.
Tons of popcorn-munching fun. 5 stars. A love letter to the sci-fi films of the 70s and 80s. With plenty of action and fun for all. You need to see it. You really do.
The captain just decided it's time to go.
I am ready for a sequel. Experience a bold new adventure. Space Wars: Quest for the Deep Star.
A good old-fashioned adventure.
Now on digital and DVD.
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
So thank you everyone for viewing. This is a very special episode, and I really hope that you guys are going to soak in everything that this has to offer. So here, coming straight off the plane here in studio, we have the amazing filmmaker who went from professional basketball player to now filmmaking, and now here in Las Vegas premiering a film at the AMC Theater. So everyone, please welcome Mr. Tony Grier. Hello.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Hi, Priscilla.
Take a seat. Hello. Welcome to the hot seat. I promise the seat's not that hot, but promises.
Okay.
But so thank you so much. You've just got in town.
Yes.
Haven't even checked in yet. You literally came right here to
That's
be
right.
with us and talk about everything about you. So thank you so much for that. It's truly an honor. So you have a very wide resume, a lot behind your belt, and so many interesting things that ties you to entertainment, to sports, and to Las Vegas. So you came here from Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Orlando, and you actually have your own production company, correct? But you actually started with sports. Right? You were a basketball player, correct?
Well, yeah, that's how it began for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from New York.
Okay.
And I played collegiately at the University of South Florida in Tampa. And back in the early 80s. And it's funny because on HBO there's a show called Winning Time that everybody's all up on because it's about the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I came through around those times, and I was drafted by the Spurs and had a cup of coffee. That means I was kind of with them for a short time, if you will. But athletics was really big in my life, and that kind of led me to doing other things, and filmmaking's been one of them.
Yes, because you actually were inspired by your brother, correct? He was in filmmaking, and you kind of were, following his footsteps, kind of getting interested in what that was about, right?
It's in my family,
Yeah.
my brother and some others who have done some things in film. And what happens is you tend to, through sports, love the entertainment part of it. And that's how I got involved with it, because I like storytelling, and I think the fascination that comes from sitting back and really finding yourself involved in a story from start to finish is what really good filmmaking and storytelling is. And that's what really gets me excited about it.
Yeah, I love that. I love always asking why you do it, but you're also a writer, correct?
Yeah, I write a lot. I've written a book. A book is sports-based, but still the writing process does take time, and I kind of then transferred over to doing little short stints of plays and some other things and writing stuff just to write and tell stories. But really, the whole thing started with the fact that I took a sports film that was out. I made contact with the producers of Hoop Dreams, which was nominated for an Academy Award in the editing side. They didn't win. But the subjects of that film I befriended and got to know, and I did their post-screening tour nationwide, which got me really comfortable with the process of post-marketing in terms of filmmaking. By then, I had not really done any films or done anything myself. And then, of course, that led me to doing some other stuff. And, of course, here we are in Vegas with the premiere of a film that I produced that centered around Bobby Wilson, who is a fantastic entertainer here in Vegas.
Right, and what's so interesting is, people are so used to coming here talking about their feature films, and I've had a lot of filmmakers, and they all stray away from documentaries. However, you right now, when you bring up Bobby Wilson, you're doing documentaries. And it's so interesting because everyone kind of is like, I don't know if it's a fear thing when they hear documentaries, they're like, you see them all go, I don't know about that. But you're like, no, it's telling a story, but it's getting in depths of an actual person and really hearing things from their point of view instead of you kind of fabricating like a biopic and adding little things, right? So what was it about not only the documentary, but Bobby Wilson that really drew you to doing The Last Teardrop?
Well, there's two things that are important nowadays, and that is if you're anybody in any industry that is trying to become well-known and or have a resume that includes things that are of importance, having your own doc is important, your own documentary. So right now, it's kind of a cool thing. to say, did you see my doc here or there? And with streaming and all the different networks that are available, you're not going to have a problem finding a place to put it. So that's a good thing. But I think that the way you do a documentary, sometimes if you do reenactments and you really make it like it's a feature film, I treated The Last Teardrop like it's a feature film. We did reenactments, we did a lot of B-roll, we did this, that, and the other. We borrowed some stuff too because of archives, but we really put together a film that I think if you sit there and watch it, you don't really think it's a documentary. It is, but it really tells a story, and it's done in a very cinematic way.
And so what's interesting is, I looked a lot about Bobby Wilson's life, and I see how there's so much to say about him, right? How did you come in contact and really approach him and say, you know what, I really want to give your life like the type of attention that it deserves, right? Will you do this with me? Because I'm pretty sure also as the subject of the documentary, you're kind of just like, really? How did that work, that relationship?
One of the things I did with Bobby is I presented to him what I felt personally would be more important than the celebrity side. His father, of course, Jackie Wilson, and the whole story and how he connected with that is important. But I think because he grew up in foster care, he didn't know who his biological parents were. He knew his mother, but he obviously was not raised by her, but he didn't know who his father was. And I felt because he did 18 years, he was never adopted. He lived in a home that had over 500 kids come through the years, living for a day or 2 weeks or a month. Some were adopted. He wasn't. But he found music, and music saved his life. And then the really cool thing was that Bruno Mars, a very young Bruno Mars, and his father really discovered Bobby and convinced him to start doing tributes. And we know how that went. Of course, Bruno's career is doing real well now, and he has a residency here in Vegas. So they're friends. So it just became really cool to show Bobby that his story could mean a lot more to other people.
Yeah, like there's, people see the documentary, they even research, because it was really easy for me to, Google Bobby Wilson and read how interesting his life went and kind of how things turned out the way that it did. I won't spill anything because I want you to see the documentary, but there's so much that to a person, which is why I love being a host and love having you here, that you might see things that they put out, but really getting to know someone and why they do what they do really is telling the audience something that they're like, wait, that I did not expect that, and now that inspires me, right? And so with you do, it's not something your only documentary, right? You've done more.
No, I've got some. I've done a lot of shorts, but I've got the 2 or 3 right now that are in production, development production, if you will. But the thing is with Bobby's story, we use the entertainment value to attract people, to build awareness for the foster care industry. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to have double, triple layers of important facts and things that people are curious. Because people have actually gone to the theater and watched the film, and they were only interested in foster care. I mean, each screening we do, we have a foster care organization that we build awareness, and we have them co-host it with us. So, but then there are others who come out for Jackie Wilson. They want to know his story, how it ties into Bobby, and vice versa. So we understand that, and we go with all of it.
But, as long as you have the viewers and you're telling the story and they stay captivated, because something that you did mention before in this interview was the storytelling aspect from beginning to end. So what people leave and what they take from it, if they leave with something, I feel like as a filmmaker, you're happy with that, right? If they leave with, So another thing I'm saying, so you've worked on shorts, you worked on all this stuff, but there's a lot of ties to you in music. Is that a coincidence, or do you aim more towards those types of entertainers?
Very interesting. The music industry, as it relates to documentaries and any film really, is difficult because you have to navigate around the rights of the film, of the music, for the film. And sometimes that's difficult to do. But, music, our score, and how you tie it into the film itself is a fascinating match. I mean, one of the things I did when I was younger is I'd always go and watch a movie, and then I would listen to the score and see how it actually impacted the storytelling. Music really actually can tell a story along with what's going on screen. So to do something that's music-based, There's not a lot of performances of Jackie that we have other than archive stuff.
Right.
And of course, Bobby has his stuff. And so we tried to blend some of it in. But I think that's a fascination that most filmmakers have, is to blend the music into a story. And you can borrow other music and use it to tell what you're trying to share to the audience, because music is so powerful.
Yeah, it really, like, you can tell when sometimes people forget, they just leave music out of it. You're like, yeah, that could have really changed the way that the dramatics kind of worked, and that's, you kind of added something,
that's true.
Composition-wise too. So when you're writing and thinking of a new either feature or documentary, is there something that always inspires you? Is there a common theme that you lean towards more so than something else?
Well, I've listened to a lot of people, filmmakers, tell their story. And everybody from Martin Scorsese to Spike Lee to anyone who is Ron Howard, they say that you have to feel it before you do it. You can have things in development and it never ever happens. And then eventually, once you feel something and you've met the subjects and you have a story that that helps humanity, that's when you go forward, and that's when you start to go live with production and pre-production ideas, and then you get it done. But you just really have to feel it. It has to be in your soul, in your spirit, and you want to help humanity.
Yeah, it's something that's in you, and that's when you kind of go with that gut feeling that this is something that's leading me this way, more so than you being like, oh, like, I feel like writing something, and then you're more of like, you're going to feel it, and you start with your intuition.
The magic of storytelling, just resonating with people in their spirit. And we've had screenings where people have gotten up and talked during the Q&A and the panel discussion about how important it is to see Bobby, who has gone through foster care, to highlight that it could work, that there's not a negative attachment to it. And let's face it, there are people who have been adopted and have been fostered, but they don't share that with their friends. I've gone to high school with people that I didn't know until now, because I realized they saw the film and said, did you know that I was a foster child? No. So now we have this national campaign. Look at what Sound of Freedom is doing for child trafficking and things of that nature. It resonates with people, and then they say, wow, that's pretty cool. And that's what I try to do.
Yeah, you're bringing awareness to something that people might not know much about, or they turn the other eye. Is there something that you learned, like one big thing that really moved you and changed you while making this documentary in particular?
Yeah, the music side of the filmmaking business is an uphill battle. And obviously others have gone through it. But one of the things that I like is that I have confidence in knowing that if you're genuine when you approach people about doing documentaries. I've gotten probably a half dozen phone calls from people, A-listers, some people who have stories, they're out there in the entertainment industry. Building the trust is one thing that I pride myself on. Because if you approach someone and you say you're going to do a documentary on them, and it turns out to be completely different than what they wanted, there's no connection through the process, you won't do many documentaries. And one of the things I pride myself on is that I've done everything that I said I was going to do with the subjects that I've talked to. It doesn't matter what level we are in, development up to post-production. You have to be true to the industry. And so that's what I like to think that I'm proud most of in terms of this business of filmmaking as it relates to documentaries.
How would you say you build that trust with the person that you want to do their documentary about? Because obviously if for this were, let's just say you came to me and you said, Priscilla, I want to do a documentary on your life. For me, I would obviously, there's a lot of complexities to humans, whether they like to say that there is or not. Every person has some sort of complexity that's hard, they feel is hard for someone else to understand. So how do you bring that out of somebody? Let's say, you feel that there's more, that you want them to just let go and not be judged by even the slightest weird thought they have. Because you want to make sure the audience is viewing them the way that they're honest truth, right? So I feel that would be the hardest thing, is to really even just get the most genuine person out of the person, right? So how do you go about that, gaining someone's trust like that?
Open-ended questions.
Okay.
Asking questions that require more than a yes or no answer. So if you ask a question and it's a general question that they've been asked before, they're going to give you the typical answer because that's the answer they're comfortable with. But then you have to ask why. What led you to that? You have to ask hard questions. You have to leave the microphone on during your breaks. Let them talk openly.
Yeah, right.
Then they start talking about things that they wouldn't talk about on camera, but then you start to build a storyline from that. So it's really just trying to get them to be real with themselves, but asking the hard questions too.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't be nice. You really have to. And, you know, I always think about 60 Minutes, and when you see those segments, you know, they ask the hard questions, you know, and people are uncomfortable with it. Right. Sometimes they're prepped in advance, other times they're not. So you always have to have questions you've prepped them with, be courteous, let them know some of them, but don't let them know all.
You kind of catches them off guard and they're just like, oh. But
and ask them anything, something that's not related to what your project is. You know, we're sitting here now, and if I just said to you, did you watch football yesterday? You're probably going to think something and say something,
like,
but
wait a minute, why are we talking about it?
You weren't ready for that question.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So that's how it is. Yeah, it's getting people to be real. That's why I love documentaries, because you can go in with a camera and do anything with someone, follow them for their day, and just capture how they interact with people and what goes on, and then interview other people and get B-roll to go with that, to complement that, and tie it all together. But it's a mystery, and there's no script writing with documentaries. You don't prepare anything. I mean, you have a blueprint of what you want to do and accomplish. But when you roll, and whatever you get, that then allows you to move forward to the next part of your documentary production, because now you have something. I can't believe that. Did you hear that? Now you're interviewing other people based on some things you heard that you didn't know about.
How long did it take you to complete this documentary?
2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we started right COVID, 2020.
Yeah.
And one of the benefits was there were some people that were kind of not working and we're looking for some work, so we're able to put together some crew independent of our own people in different parts of the country. I mean, we traveled all over. We went to Bobby's hometown in South Carolina. We came to Vegas. We went to different parts, Detroit, where Jackie was born and was from. And so we got around, and so we had to work with some other people and collaborate. So, but it worked out.
Yeah, good. You're here. We're talking about it. It's obviously an amazing thing. It's very impactful from what I've researched and I've read on many ends, the filmmaking end and obviously the subject end. You mentioned you do have Q&As after, which is great. I love that. Is there one thing in particular an audience member has said that has stuck with you that really makes you feel like you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish with this?
We had New York and we had LA. And we had people in the audience ask Bobby specific questions. He answered them all and did very well. But one question was, do you forgive your mother? Now that's a deep question. Yeah. It's very sensitive with Bobby because he had a bumpy relationship later on in life prior to her passing away. But she gave him up at 6 months. And why? He understands. But he did forgive her. And he means it. And some people were really, really happy to hear him say that. Matter of fact, they applauded him. They stood up and applauded. And we had other people who were fostered, who had a stigma, they thought, and they got up and they talked and they cried because they said, we're just so happy to hear you talk the way you do about it. They were fostered, they were adopted, this, that, and the other. So the Q&A and panel discussion, it opens up a lot of different things. It just depends really what kind of audience we have, because in LA it was strictly entertainment, actors and producers. Yeah. New York, it was people we knew. It depends. I know in Vegas there's a lot of entertainment people here, but everybody understands how it feels to be displaced and not to be with their biological parents.
And so that's a common denominator that you've noticed.
Everybody can relate to that because it's happened. People sometimes are removed from their home for reasons they didn't understand as a child. You know, their parents were having some problems. And in Bobby's case, his mother was very young, and so it was difficult for her. And so Bobby wound up in foster care, and he stayed 18 years. And the guy was never adopted. And Bobby's one of the greatest guys I know. And it's unfortunate. But, you know, there are scenes in the documentary where there's a little bit of that. You know, I asked him some hard questions. You know, I got a tear or two out of him a couple of times in some dramatic scenes and things we did. But we think we did the best we could. You know, Bobby was a little hesitant at some points because entertainers are entertainers, and they want to put out the best of who they are. Yeah. They don't want to be sitting in a corner crying about how they were treated when they were 5 years old. Right. But we didn't get that far with him, but we came close. We did the best we could because we felt that's what people really needed to see.
Yeah, and however far you did get him, it obviously the audience understood, right? And I think, you know, with a lot of people, and I tell this to a lot of others asking about hosting, I mean, meeting people in that way is, I know people want to be heard, they want to be understood, right? So if you can be that person in someone else's life, which I feel you were to Bobby, he can kind of feel relief thinking that, okay, someone gets it. Even if you didn't lead the same life as Bobby did. Right? There is something within each person that you can kind of connect and allow people to feel compassion in that way. And I think, obviously, with what you're saying, the audience you did that very well, and you did him justice, which applaud you for.
Thank you. Yes. Priscilla, that's why we're here, because Bobby, there was some trust that came from our conversations. And I touched some areas that he had not been touched. You know, most of the people who've contacted him, people in Hollywood who wanted to do a movie on Jackie and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, that's great. Right, you know, but those things sometimes don't develop. Right. But I hit him where he needed to be hit, and I just said, "You owe humanity because you are a living testament. Yes. You beat the system, and we want to tell your story." Yeah. That's why we're here.
Exactly. And so you're literally here. You're in Las Vegas. You did some filming in Las Vegas. He performs here in Las Vegas. That is correct. So tell the audience a little bit about, why are you here? What is all of this for? You know, we mentioned AMC. We hinted at it a little bit. And something big is happening tomorrow, which is a big thing. So let the audience know, like, you're in Vegas and why.
What we did is we picked about 10 cities in the United States to go. Now, the film is going to be big in Europe and other parts of the world. It's already ready to roll there. But we wanted to do domestic screenings. So when you're a documentary, you know, you very seldom get in theaters. But our distribution, they picked us up. The distributor said, "We love this film." And they, of course, had an inroad to theaters, which that's all I needed to hear. Yeah. And so that's why we've chosen some cities around the country to go in, do an awareness campaign for foster care, do a screening. We've sold them all out. And we're just happy about it because it's important to spread the word. And eventually, of course, the film will stream. Obviously, that's the next step. And with all the places to land, we just hope we'll start at the top and work down. But we feel good about that part of it, too. So we're just excited to go to different cities. And this, of course, is where Bobby lives. Yes. So this is an exciting time for him.
It's a big accomplishment to even get 10 cities and getting it in at AMC, right? Like, a lot of filmmakers, first to even screen at one local is a big deal, or get to be submitted internationally to a film festival is a big thing. But here you are, you got that. And then now you're also traveling, showing the world, while also, you know, talking about a cause, right? So you also, and I heard you in another interview that I watched of yours, you are working on a feature, you know, something that you're creating. It was in the works, you know, less than a year ago. So how is that going for you? Because it's a little different, right, than the documentary.
It is. I collaborated with a screenwriter friend, and we put together, we took a real story and we did a fictionalized version of it. Okay. And we put it in the right hands. And all I can say is it just got greenlit. And that means that a major studio says they like it, and they're going to go forward and produce this film. Now, that's early stages of what you want to hear. Right. Sometimes things don't work out. I'm just happy because I know the real people from the film. I actually have been talking to them about doing a documentary on them about this particular film.
Wow.
And it led to this, whereby which now, and of course it's a fictionalized version, so we're not sure how that's going to play out. But many films you see, it says based on a true story. So you can kind of get away with some things, change the names.
That's a big, accomplishment for you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
With that.
But you lose control too.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So
It's no longer my baby.
A lot of filmmakers are like, oh, I don't know, but at the same time, to even get that recognition and be noticed, okay, then we got something here, right?
Yeah.
As an artist. You filmed a little bit for the documentary here in Las Vegas. You're here in Las Vegas, you're screening, you have some ties. How do you feel with the filmmaking in Las Vegas? Do you ever see it as the next Hollywood that people are viewing as someone who doesn't live here? And do you think that you could ever come back and film something here again?
Absolutely. Vegas, you can't go wrong because you can always use it as a backdrop for any story you're telling.
Yeah.
So that's why Vegas is so important. Vegas is Nevada is a wonderful place. I mean, there's so much development that still has not been done in terms of residential properties, if you will. Things can spread out more. But the Vegas Strip and the tradition of Vegas is alive and well. And there are a number of things that are going on. I have a couple of ideas and things that I have put on the back burner now, but will probably rise again. And as I learn more about Vegas and in terms of the inner workings of it.
Yeah.
And who knows? I'm sure I'll be back and doing some B-roll for sure. But there may be some subjects and some central figures here. Actually, there is one, but I can't speak on him. He's a really, really famous guy.
Okay.
But we've had some conversations, several. So who knows?
Yeah, but that's great because I'm going to say, you're making ties here at social media shows. Don't forget us. Even though you're all the way across the country in Florida. But, it is, your company is AQuest, right? I get that right.
AQuest Films. Okay. AQuest Productions, and we have a division in films, which, I'm a businessman. Let's just say that I never went to film school. I didn't learn the traditional things you need to know. I made some mistakes earlier on. Mistakes I'm certainly not unhappy with. I mean, it's just normal things. But wow, when you learn that way, you really know what to do and you know how to handle different things. And again, as a child, I learned from my brother some different things. But and the industry's changed technology-wise. What we used 10, 30 years ago, it's different today. But yeah, you're always learning. I'm always learning. And I think the reason I'm so happy about doing these projects is because I never call myself a filmmaker. I just call myself a person who makes films, who aspires to make films from the right place. And that's the creative side. I've watched a lot of movies. I'm a big fan of the industry, entertainment, anything related to entertainment, but certainly movie making and the whole process of storytelling. And I think if I stay grounded that way, I'm never going to move to California. I'm always going to stay home with my 3 children and, all the things that go with that. And they're all teenagers now. They're getting older. Life goes on. And I have a nice lady in my life who together we've supported each other with some of the things that we're doing as we're getting older. And that's how life is. You just do the right thing and you let the spirit of innovation guide you. And I think if more people did that, they would be happy in what they do. Even if it's a side hustle, you find something you stick your teeth into and it makes you get up in the morning.
Because things are going to change regardless, whether you like it or not. You have to move with the times. But if you find your place, then there's more of a purpose for you, I feel. And that's how I see it as an artist. But what kind of legacy are you trying to leave behind in regards to filmmaking? Even though you don't want to call yourself a filmmaker, you're a person who makes film. But, everyone wants to leave a mark in the industry they're in. So what is that for you?
I think the bringing back the idea that creative thinking can be your passion to lead you to do things. Like a person did an interview in Florida and they said that they were interested most in the fact that I'm an older man, a gentleman, I'm in my early 60s, and that I, produced and directed a feature film, documentary, of course, and want to know what I did up to this point, because why didn't I do one at 30, or what's, and life is that way.
Right.
You evolve into doing things, but I've been a fan and been involved in some way or another for 25 years. But so I guess the message to the story that they wrote was for a senior magazine about it's never too late.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense. But
Too
that's a story, right?
It
That
is.
makes people say, you know what, hey, Tony did that. But I've been at it for a long time, but
Right.
but still,
Everyone's journey is different, though, because if that didn't happen back then, you wouldn't be here now, right?
Yeah,
And so that was what was meant to be for you, and now you're here, and you have this knowledge to create what you created. That people are now like, why didn't you do this at 30? You're like, well, maybe I didn't have the knowledge at 30 to do this at 30, right? And so there is a question I ask all of my guests, because I love hearing the answer. It sums up them as a whole, their story, everything that you've basically said on camera. But it is there a philosophy that you live by?
Well, I think my passion for the higher power and recognizing it, some people call it God, some people call it religion, some people call it faith, whatever you call it. You have to connect, and that way you're able to be the best version of yourself. How else can you do it other than through God? I mean, you just can't do it any other way. I mean, you could claim you're doing it. You can go out and make a lot of money and be successful. But if you're not really happy because you haven't done the things that you feel truly make you whole, and that really means in respecting other people and connecting and networking and connecting with the universe. I'm a big fan of The Secret. And
Same.
I'm huge into that. And I really believe the positive vibes we put out there, they come back to you. And so I inspire people, people inspire me. A 2-minute phone call to someone who needs to be picked up, and people can call me and pick me up. We do that for one another. It's connecting with humanity. And if we did that, we'd probably have a better world.
Oh, 100%. And I love that. I love speaking with you, and I love that, you're a very spiritual person. You give out energy, you take in energy, and it's things that a lot of people don't understand. It's intuition that a lot of people don't understand. It's connecting with humans that a lot of people don't understand. I think that's what's making you a great filmmaker, or man who makes films, I don't want to be called that, or gaining others' trust in order to tell their story the way that, in a respectful way that they would like to be done. So congratulations to you on everything. We love having you here in Las Vegas. Please tell the audience where they can connect with you. I don't know, social media, if you personally are on it or just your business, what that's about.
Well, Priscilla, to you and to others, Maria, your executive producer, I am a filmmaker, so that is true.
Right, because you're like, I don't like to be called that, but okay.
But I just say what I say to you because I just want to stay where I am.
Yeah.
Because I think I can do
I don't
the
want to
best work.
disrespect you, though, so I want to make sure I title you
And no offense, it was not taken that way, but I want you to feel comfortable because I am a filmmaker to you.
Yes.
And thank you, and I wear that label proudly, and I am happy. Our film is a film that can be seen in AMC theaters now. I recommend you go to AQuestFilms.com. And you can also go to social media, Facebook. We have The Last Teardrop, which is a page dedicated to the film, The Last Teardrop. Just find it in the search engine, and you can pull it up, and you'll see some things there as well. There's several trailers there, and we try to update it as much as we can. But AQuest Films is how you reach me, and my email address is aquestfilms@gmail.com. Certainly write me and just say hello. And we'd love to have you join in and be a part of our family. And we just want to be a part of this wonderful industry. So happy to be in Vegas. Wonderful place. And we're just happy to be here. And I'm glad you invited me.
Yeah, thank you for taking your time out. You don't have much time, so that's why I'm glad that you came here. I'm just honored that I get to interview you. You're having me interview you. So it's fantastic, and I'm truly honored to have such an insightful person here with me today, inspiring me as I'm sitting here. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. The inspiration is mutual.
Oh, thank you. Stop making me blush when I turn as pink as my clothes and my outfit. Stop. Anyway, Tony Grier, everyone. Round of applause. make sure to go view the website, learn about the Last Teardrop, make sure to look into it. It's definitely something that I think will inspire everyone, no matter if you know anything about Bobby Wilson, Jackie Wilson. I think it's something that really needs to be seen, not just for its amazing filmmaking qualities, but the story and the messages that are being told throughout that. So make sure to look and support. Please support. And when we come back, I'm never done speaking because that's all I do is just talk all day and bless your screen. But so make sure to not go anywhere. But Tony Grier, one last round of applause, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you after the break.
His story is unbelievable.
I wouldn't want to change a thing. It's just the way life unfolded.
Bobby is an entertainer and a tribute artist.
Do you like Jackie Wilson? I'm doing a tribute to Jackie. I kind of figured that.
Jackie Wilson, one of rock and roll's first big names.
Met Bobby, I thought, that's Jackie Wilson, and came back,
When I see him on stage, you get the chills.
My path was paying tribute to his music for the last 25 years.
He's a clone of Jackie. It makes me feel like I'm next to my father.
It's like I'm in the room with him, the way he moves, the way he talks.
There has to be a connection there somewhere.
They knocked on my dressing room and said, hey, it's a guy that wants to see you. My whole world is about to change. I remember looking at my birth certificate for the first time in my life. I didn't know I was a foster child.
He was abandoned by his parents.
Well, I read it, so I was like in disbelief. I am a son of Jackie Wilson's.
I was amazed.
He carries his father's legacy, and they never even met.
I find that quite extraordinary myself.
Everything Bobby knew suddenly switched.
That was sort of the beginning of the tragedies in our family.
I didn't realize the backlash that I would get.
I kind of tried to stay away from Bobby. Bobby stayed in trouble.
I didn't want it to be true.
He takes over, just like Jackie did.
He's the biggest fake there is.
They're fighting him all the time.
It aggravated me so much.
It was tragedy after tragedy. She flew there alive, came back dead.
Jackie Wilson died riddled with debts, without even a headstone for his grave.
I know something was put in his drink. He was poisoned.
It was a circus.
Business of rock and roll was not an innocent game.
Did he get all the credit for it? I'm not too sure.
I fight. Everybody got to fight.
He went from the penthouse to the poorhouse.
There's some good things about not knowing.
No matter what, keep the memory going. When I see Jackie Wilson, I see a different man. I don't see me. I know who I am.
Las Vegas, here we come!
I can't believe we're all moving to Vegas.
I know, right? It's a dream come true.
Wow, super creepy dude.
Mason, stop. I think he heard you.
What if someone walked up in the back of his semi?
She's gone. Someone took her. Who's that creepy trucker?
What are you doing?
They call me Mother Trucker.
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
I'm Deacon T with Modern Word Ministries. It's great to be with you today. Just a short little promo for our show. Every Sunday morning we have service, and you can follow us at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on modernwordministries.org. And if you missed us or you want to see some of our older messages, go ahead and check us out on socialmediashows.com every single morning at 9 a.m. It's a great way to kick off your day, get a little bit of the word in you, get something uplifting, get you started off on your way. You know, if you're looking for prayer or you need some help, reach out to us. If you go to our website, again, that's modernwordministries.org, you can interact with me via telephone, via DM, text message, whatever you want. I'll get right back to you. So if you need prayer, you need help, you just need somebody to talk to, Modern Word Ministries is here for you. We are your church in the community. So until you see you next time, be blessed, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host, Priscilla Moy, and you are watching a very special interview and episode of the best show on social media shows. Nepotism aside, but obviously, we always have an amazing guest and inspires you. I know I tell you guys this every single time after the episode that, oh my God, I'm so inspired all the time. But really, Tony is an absolutely amazing person. The energy that everyone's feeling in this room, sitting next to him, I kind of like started to sweat. I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I didn't expect him to like be that insightful. But it's something that I love, is just learning from fellow people in entertainment and film and just looking at it from a different lens and living a different life than all of us do, and taking that, because I feel as artists we just learn from each other, right? Even if there's nothing that, you know, we would have in common that you would think, sometimes there's always that one thing that connects you, and it just kind of elevates you and makes you realize why you do what you do and why you're here. So, you know, for me, it's just something that when I meet another artist, if I can connect with them in a way that others might not, it makes me know that this is the right place that I want to be. And I really hope that I connect with more people like that. So I hope everyone knows who Tony Grier is. You look him up everywhere. You go to the website, you go on the social media, you watch his films, because his energy is phenomenal. And he's very, very, very intelligent and very insightful. And I really would love to talk to him for hours. I think that would be an amazing conversation. But as always, a lot of people are asking questions about how to get on the hot seat, and the answer for that is admin@socialmediashows.com is the email that you will have to email with your bio and your headshot to the executive producer in order to be on any of the 15 shows here at Social Media Shows. It does not have to be mine, the hot seat. It could be on anyone, but if any of you want to get involved or have an idea for a new show, please inquire at that email address and contact Maria at admin@socialmediashows.com. Or if you just want to reach out and sponsor. We're always looking for sponsors for any of the shows, so please support, share your thoughts, comment, you know, tell us what you like and ideas that you have, and just continue to share and spread awareness about what we're trying to do for the city of Las Vegas and entertainment with all of your friends and family. So yeah, as always, I am Priscilla Moy, and I will see you next week with another amazing episode that brings inspiration to you right at home, to all of my viewers. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's special episode, and I hope that I see you next week. Bye.